Okay.
So we'll be discussing about important terms related to email marketing. Okay, so in the previous session we discussed about important terms related to email, the basic email writing process. Now the same email platform is going to be used for the marketing purposes, which means the promotional activity of your products or services. Okay, there are some important terms that we need to know before we get into the email marketing procedure so that it will be really useful for us to better understand and then execute the email marketing campaign. The number one is basically called the open rate. Rate is always with respect to time. Open rate, which means to how many people you have sent the email. Okay, you have sent the email and how many people opened the email. Okay, so the ratio between the number of people to whom you sent the email and the number of people who opened the email is called open rate. Okay, so if you say you have sent an email to, let me say, 1,000 people. Okay, and out of 1,000 only 250 people opened your email, remaining people did not open, which means remaining 750 people did not open the email, and it is only 25 percentage of open rate. Okay, so how many people opened your email? Now this depends on several factors. The open rate depends on several factors like number one, okay, the email delivered to inbox. Not every email will be going to inbox. Several times the email might be filtered by other folders like promotions, spam, social, and all that stuff. So when your email reaches the inbox, the possibility of people opening it is very high, preferably immediately opening it. But when the same email is filtered by promotions, spam folder, or a social folder, okay, people may not know that there is an email that is lying in spam, until otherwise they don't, I mean, they go and open it. Okay, so the email delivered to the inbox decides how often people open the email. Number one. Okay, number two, obviously the title or the subject of the email. Okay, if you write an email and if the title looks very catchy, very attractive, or it increases the curiosity of the person, he will immediately open the email to check out what is there in it. Okay, so there are several factors also. Okay, so these are two important factors where we can talk about the open rate of an email. Okay, we can also check out by going Google. Okay, how to increase. Okay, how to increase the open rate. How to increase the open rate of emails. There may be some tips and tricks that we will be getting it. Okay, so email open rates, a scientific step-by-step guide. Okay, this is what they make this particular title as, okay, they make this particular title very catchy and also compelling. So it says the science behind email open rates. So look at this one, the title which they have written for their article and the title which we saw, okay, in SERP, search engine results page. The title was a scientific step-by-step guide, but the article title is something different. So the title was designed in such a way to make sure that people tend to click open the email or the content. Okay, so the success of your email campaign depends on your open rate. If no one opens your email, then you cannot generate new business from email marketing. Okay, so they have added some metrics here. Let us see. Let us glimpse through it. Okay, the average email rate in the industry. What do they say? Between 2015 and 2018, okay, it was around 25%, so 24 percentage. Okay, so don't expect 50%, 80% open rate. The average open rate of emails in the industry right now, I mean, till 2018 was to 24 percentage. However, in 2020 it dropped to 21.3 percentage. Okay, that's a slight decrease compared to 2019. Okay. So let me say if you're sending 1,000 email, don't expect people 50 people to open your email. If it happens, that's really good. But the average thing is 24 percentage. Okay, and that's a graph which is typically really useful. So the open rate benchmark by different year. In the year 2016, almost 23 percentage. In the year 2000, I mean 2006, and 7, 8, 9 it continues. And in the year 2010, it is somewhere around 23, 24 percentage approximately. And the maximum one is approximately 28 percentage we can consider. And in 2020, okay, it is somewhere around 23 or 22. Okay, so pretty good, study. So which means people tend to open email since 2006 to till now. That is what we understand. Okay, now they are also given the data related to the different country. That is also useful. Okay, anyway, so UK, Switzerland, Sweden, Norway, Germany. Okay, so 16 percentage. So the maximum open rate is in Denmark, 31 percentage. When it says rest of the world, it is 35 percentage. Okay, anyway, so we don't need to get into that much detailed values. So average is like 20 to 25 percentage is what we can consider. Okay, let's see. Okay, so what are the factors, okay, that determines the open rate? Okay, let it be, that's what I want to look into. Okay, here is the steps. Okay, when you add the sender's name in your email, the probability of people opening your email is 45.9 percentage. That's really good. When you have a subject line, that is really helpful and useful, that contributes up to 33.90 percentage. When you give offer to people, there is a possibility of 13.10. And when you give an introduction to your email, a small intro to your email, 7.10 percentage. Makes sense. Okay, open rate by number of words in a subject line. Okay, when you have your headline very short, or when you have it very long, the open rate is very less. Okay, now the open rate is from 16 to 20 when you have your characters longer. So the average length should be from 6 to 10 character or words, so that you have a good open rate. So this is pretty well researched article. Okay, great. So there are several reasons. I'm just moving on to the reason. Okay, anyway, so what are they trying to say? Have your title very short, don't have it very long. Have your title to the point, so that people can select. And the average open rate is from 20 to 24 approximately. Okay, when address the people with your name. So there are several factors which determines open rate. And the next metric we are going to discuss is basically called the click-through rate, or we call it as a click-through ratio. Okay, when people open the email that we send, that ratio is called open ratio. After opening the email, when people click on the link available inside the email content, is called click through rate. So the difference is this. Okay, when you send an email to, let me say, thousands of people, and if 200 people out of these 1000 opens the email. Okay, that is open ratio. After opening the email, not everybody will click on the link given inside the email. Okay, out of the 200 people, there might be 50 people or 70 people or 100 people, whatever may be the number. It's just a ballpark figure. Okay, so that ratio is called click through ratio, CTR. Okay, so okay, so the first ratio what we have seen is open ratio. The next ratio what we have seen is click through ratio. Okay, let us see the average. Okay, CTR in email marketing. Okay, the average CTR is only 5.01 percentage. Okay, so we are just taking the data in the random manner. Okay, the average open rate is 21 percentage is what we have seen. Okay, so open rate in the industry right now is only 21 percentage. Okay, now out of that 21, okay, click through ratio is only 5.01 percentage. Okay, now when you send the email to people, when they open, that's called open rate. How many people click the link inside the email, that ratio is called a click through ratio, right? After clicking on the link in the email, the number of people who actually converts by subscribing or by making a purchase is called conversion ratio. Okay, so conversion ratio. So open rate, click through rate, and a conversion rate. Now this is coming like a channel or funnel. Open rate is very high, then the click through ratio is little small, then the conversion ratio. Obviously, logically, the conversion ratio might be less than the click through ratio. Okay, so the average, okay, conversion ratio, that is average conversion ratio in email marketing rate. Okay, now the average conversion rate peaked in 2018 was 18.49 percentage. And still it is respectable, so you can have 15.1% as the average conversion ratio. Okay, so we are taking the metrics from different sources. Okay, so we cannot, okay, guarantee that we get the exact value. Okay, so average click-through rate is 2.87 percentage. So if you see the average open rate, so there is one tool which says the average open rate is 21.80 and the average click-through ratio is 2.78 percentage. And of course, if there is a conversion, okay, that metrics also should be given. Okay, and there is one thing which called the average conversion ratio was 2.35 percentage. Of course, we don't need, okay, the exact value. Okay, okay, we don't need the exact value. Okay, but we need to check it out. Okay, so let me document this. Okay, some 2.35 percentage. So it is logical that we have a very huge open rate and the click-through ratio reduces and the conversion ratio also reduces. Okay, great. Now the next value that we have is called the bounce rate. Okay, okay. With respect to email, okay, with respect to email, bounce means the email not getting delivered. Okay, the email not getting delivered. When you have a database of email, let me say thousands of people, okay, and out of thousand, let me say you have an invalid email address, some 150 to 200 something like that, then there is a possibility of having a very high bounce rate. Okay, the email is not getting delivered. There can be several reasons, preferably okay the email address is no more, they might have deleted, okay, or deprecated. Number two, spell error in the email. Okay, when you are entering the email address from a form to the account, there is a spelling error in the email. Okay, there is a possibility. Okay, spell error. So the email address is no more, not available. There is a spelling mistake, or there is a possibility of temporary server error. That's a possibility. Okay, so conversion rate, bounce rate, and the temporary server error. Okay, so the email address is no more, spell error in the email, so temporary server error. Okay, so bounce ratio is the number of email that are not delivered. Okay, now this is under our control. Let me say if you are sending an email to 10 people, if all the 10 emails are in good standing, it is okay, you will have a 100% delivery rate. Okay, there will be no bounce rate. So when you are creating your email address database, okay, you need to use any online email validator tool, okay, to make sure that you don't send email to the invalid email addresses. Okay, now this is pretty self-explanatory. The rate or the speed in which your email database list grows is called list growth rate. Okay, whenever you send out an email asking people to subscribe to your newsletter or to sign up for your product or services, people may sign up. At the same time, there are some people who will unsubscribe from your list. So people may come, people may go. It's not permanent, or it is a law of nature where people come and go. That's normal. Okay, so the list growth, okay, is the speed at which your audience database grows. Okay, that is important one. Okay, email sharing or forwarding rate, which means when you send an email to a person, when a person receives your email and shares the same email or forwards to the other person, okay, and shares or forwards to other person is called sharing rate, sharing or forwarding rate. Of course, this is not that important factor with respect to email marketing, but it is really good if you have an email that is worth sharing to other people. Okay, okay. Overall ROI. Okay, for this you need to understand what is ROI is. ROI means return on interest. Okay, return on investment or interest. Okay, so whatever you pay or you invest money, that is called, and how much profit you make. Okay, how much you spent, how much you made is basically called the return. Okay, so the return on investment. Okay, the overall is like the amount of profit made, okay, in the whole campaign. Okay, the amount of profit made in the whole campaign, okay, is with respect to the amount spent is called the overall return on investment. Overall ROI. ROI basically means return on investment. Any advertisement campaign, okay, is run with an intention to increase the return on investment. Okay, that is basic. Okay. Of course, I think we discussed about open rate a little earlier. The first one was the open rate. Okay. And unsubscribe rate. Whenever you have people subscribing to your newsletter, there will be a situation where people will unsubscribe from your newsletter also. Those people who do not want to be a part of your email list, who does not prefer to get more updates anymore, they will unsubscribe. Okay, the number of people who opt to unsubscribe them from the database is called unsubscribe rate. Okay, so people will get in, people will get out. Okay, when they come inside they are called sign in or sign up. When they go out, this is basically called unsubscribe. So when 100 people comes in, another 50 people goes out. When 50 people comes in, another 50 people may go out. So there is no relationship between number of people coming inside your email database and number of people going outside from your email database. Okay, so you should accept the subscription and unsubscription, and based on all this, when you send out an email, okay, the complete email database can be created, where the email database should be updated as recently as possible. Otherwise the email address can be invalid, or we might be end up targeting the wrong customers. So these are the few important terms related to email marketing that we have discussed right now.